Thanks, Maggie. Thanks for having me today. So, as Maggie mentioned, today I'll be talking about what I think is a critical component in thinking about this question about privacy and data. So we know, especially as researchers, that both data access and protecting privacy are important. Federal agencies administer censuses and surveys and collect information from administrative records. These activities produce a wealth of information that is used in a myriad of ways, from community planning to academic research. Safeguarding the information of individuals and firms providing these data is a priority. RDCs, which I'll be talking about today, facilitate access to restricted data while protecting privacy. To balance access to data and privacy, some data are made available publicly, while others are only made available on a restricted basis. Federal Statistical Research Data Centers, which I'll call RDCs, were established to provide access to the restricted data. RDCs enabled qualified researchers with approved projects to access confidential, unpublished data from the federal statistical system. This quote from a former U.S. Census Bureau director about RDCs: "This research data center allows us to engage researchers outside of Washington in using this very important data while also protecting the public's right to privacy." Now I'll tell you a little bit about how RDCs protect privacy. RDCs provide access to restricted census data as well as data from other federal statistical agencies. Each RDC is a secure facility. All RDC research output goes through a rigorous disclosure avoidance review process to ensure that no confidential information is released. Each RDC is staffed by a Census Bureau employee, and each RDC is part of a greater network of RDCs. The network includes 29 RDCs around the country. RDCs are joint projects of the U.S. Census Bureau and their home institutions. So we have one here at Michigan in the basement of this building, and it is a joint project of the Census Bureau and the University of Michigan. Here's a map of all the RDCs around the country, the existing locations in blue and locations in development in red. And by having this network across the country, RDCs facilitate collaboration across locations so that researchers in different places can be working on the same project. And as researchers move across their careers, that they can still be involved in this research and not be tied to one location. Working in an RDC provides access to data that are just not available elsewhere. Some data, in particular, are just not available publicly at all. These include establishment-level business data, as well as linked household and firm data. Some data are available publicly, but the restricted versions provide more detailed information. These might include detailed geospatial variables. There's also virtually no top or bottom coding in the RDC. And also in the RDC, it's possible to link data to other non-census data. The RDCs provide Census Bureau data and increasingly data from other federal agencies. So while they started with only census data, with data like the decennial census and demographic surveys, also data from economic censuses and surveys, and linked business and household data, they've now expanded their scope to include data from other agencies like the National Center for Health Statistics and the Agency for Healthcare Research and Quality, which have included their public health survey data in the RDCs, as well as the Bureau of Labor Statistics, which has included some of their labor survey data in the RDCs. And it's an exciting time that more agencies are looking to join the RDC system in the future. In addition to these different data sets, RDCs also facilitate linkage of different data products, providing unique research opportunities. These include linked business and household data, as well as linked survey and administrative data. And in addition to all of these survey products, there are also a number of projects coming out of these sorts of linkages that are available in the RDC. An exciting piece about the RDC is that they promote broader access to data than before. RDCs are accessible by any academic. The application process is transparent. RDC administrators and agency analysts assist researchers in preparing their applications. There's an increasing emphasis on timely review. When we think about how do we protect privacy in the system, there are a number of requirements for accessing the data. So while they are available broadly, there are requirements to ensure privacy. One of these is that any researcher looking to use data in an RDC must submit a research proposal. That would go to the federal agency that is responsible for those data. In addition, once that proposal was approved, they also have to obtain special sworn status. So access is restricted to Census Bureau employees or researchers who have special sworn status with the Census Bureau. To do that, the researcher must either be a U.S. citizen or have lived in the U.S. for 3 years. And those obtaining special sworn status must obtain security clearance and must sign and make a sworn statement about preserving the confidentiality of the data for life. So it's not just during the time that they're working with the data, but that even when they are no longer working in the RDC, that they can't release any restricted information. As a result of access to these non-public data, this access has enabled innovative research published in leading academic journals. So just some topics that are relevant to current news and policy conversations. Our researchers have assessed residential mobility and the geographic distribution of the healthy. They're able to do that because they have access to more detailed geographic information in the restricted data. Our researchers have examined the relationship between environmental emissions and health outcomes. They've quantified the impact of maternal access to the birth control pill on child poverty. And they've investigated the effects of interactions with international markets on U.S. firm performance using data on businesses that just wouldn't be available elsewhere. And these are just a sample of a wide variety of research that has come out of our RDC. So in summary, the RDC network is a vital resource for providing data access while protecting privacy. It reduces the amount and scope of publicly available data to protect privacy. So when we think about the privacy budget that David and John were talking about, in this way there are fewer estimates being released, but researchers can still work with data in a protected space. Permits access to restricted data in a secure and controlled manner to facilitate important research. RDCs are increasingly necessary as additional differential privacy measures are implemented. And understanding the role of RDCs can be valuable in helping the public have confidence in the confidentiality of their responses to federal censuses and surveys, which is important as we think back to our earlier panel in helping people have confidence when they answer the census.